Arsenal is the third best team in the Premier League? Really? Football fans, welcome to the May 24th edition of the Positively Uncensored Arsenal podcast. I'm your host, Shutter, together with my usual partner, Blackburn George, the Ars blogger. Stay tuned for this subject and more. Blackburn George, welcome to the final edition of the 2020-21 season of the Premier League. Final edition of the Positively Uncensored Arsenal podcast. How are you, my friend?
All the better for the season being over. Thanks very much for asking.
I've noticed that you have had a very hard time writing your blogs, George. You have been, I could see the effort there. You must be thankful. Sometimes I wonder how you get through it.
Well, it's been a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. You know, just forcing yourself to open your laptop up and start writing the same blog week in, week out. It's just mind-numbingly depressing, and like I say, and then the reviews. You know, I've given up with them altogether because it would be the same review week in, week out. You know, it's been dire football. Nothing good about the season. Nothing. I can't think of one highlight or one good thing that's happened this season. I really can't.
The Pro Arteta camp will say you're terribly biased. But George, I will say the same thing, by the way, about how hard it is to keep saying the same thing over and over again. And I will tell the listeners, the last two matches we did not do a review. It was mainly my doing. The games came thick and fast, but we would be saying the same thing. As the game today, for example, the game against Crystal Palace prior to this. As I understand, you know, we won, but we had 3 shots on target, 6 chances created, something like that. I mean, we would be saying the same thing. Yes, we won, but it was not easy watching. It was hard.
Oh, it was painful. And we were lucky to beat Crystal Palace. There's no question about that. I mean, 2 goals in injury time made it look a comfortable win. It was anything but that. It was
hard. After Benteke,
slog and nothing happening.
You're right.
Same shite over and over again. And, we're lucky. I'm glad we didn't do a review because, like you say, it would have been the same as almost every game this season.
Yes.
The underlying figures are frightening. You know, the number of shots we create, the number of chances we create, it's absolute bilge.
George,
and it's hard to watch. It's not fun to watch. That's the point. It should be fun. You should want to watch the game. I'm thinking, what time are we playing today? Fucking hell. I'm going to have to stop watching Coronation Street or something to watch Arsenal and not enjoy it. Just sit there looking blankly at the screen with my mouth open, not believing the shite that I'm watching. It's very depressing.
You know, George, as you know, I mean, people don't know this, but you are aware of it. I've been working on a construction project for the past 2 years, but I have to carve out because it's most of the weekend and after work. So these hours are precious to me, and I have to carve out the time to watch Arsenal and to do these previews and to come to my opinions. And sometimes I wonder if this is really worth it, you know. But you know, we're singing the same old song. But to tell you how.
It's not worth it. The return on investment is terrible.
Well, that's exactly my thing. This is a commercial project for me. The return on investment is terrible. Yeah, literally. But George, to make the point, We finished the season on 61 points and 55 goals. And yesterday, and it came to my mind, I remember this old Dusty Springfield song, which will dates me and dates you, I think. We were there wishing and hoping and, wishing for Arteta's charms, I suppose, that Everton would lose, Spurs would lose, and we would beat Brighton to come in seventh to qualify for the European Conference League. The very bottom, the very dregs of Europe. This is what we were wishing and hoping for. How bad has it got?
Well, the thing is, if we'd have got that Conference League, everybody would have been saying, oh, well, Arteta's got us into Europe again.
Exactly.
Jesus. Thank fuck we didn't qualify for it. I mean, it's bad enough playing in the Losers' Cup, the Europa League. That's painful enough watching without playing in this conference. But it does bring problems with no European football because the size of the squad now becomes a genuine issue.
Oh, what
are we going to do with all these players? I mean, have we got 6 centre backs?
Oh,
6 or 7.
Well, David Louis gone, George.
When are they going to play?
Yes. Because
well, they're not going to play, a lot of them. A lot of them are never going to kick a ball in anger. So it's a genuine problem giving these people game time because what we're going to do, play them in the cups and go out the cup early, the first round again, like we did this season, early doors. They'll have had no practice.
Game time.
They won't be match fit. They're playing in a system that's not exactly easy to fit into because it takes so much learning, shall we say. It's a learned system, not a fluent system. So our cup performances are liable to suffer as well. So we'd probably be out them fairly quickly. So they're never going to get to play. It's all these people. How do you keep them employed, happy? How do you keep the squad happy? How do you pay the wages of all these people that are never going to kick a ball in anger? And then if you trim them, how do you trim them? You've got to keep all your homegrown players.
Yes.
We've got to have a quarter of them. So we're getting rid of a lot of international players. And I said this the other day, it's all right saying sell them, but who are we going to sell them to? We're going to have to sell them to WeBuyAnyPlayer.com and just, put them on the market and take the first offer that comes along. If anybody will take them or if they'll go. Don't forget, a lot of them have contracts that they will probably want to keep rather than go to some lesser club on lesser wages. You can't force them out. We've created a real big problem by not even qualifying for the Europe. For Arsenal not qualifying for the Europa League is an absolute disgrace.
And George, there are people making all kinds of excuses, and Arteta used his presser, I think it was Thursday or whatever it was, to say how well he has done, he never imagined that we would come from 15th. He didn't say it was 15th, but we know it was practically 15th that week before Chelsea. And it's all good and well. Well, I lost the trend of my thought. But it's all good and well, patting yourself on the back. But look where you are today.
Well, this is something else I said. But people said to me right through the season that we should judge Arteta in May. Now, I foolishly thought they meant judge him for the season in May. But it turns out that what they meant was judge him from what he's done in May.
Or judge him from Christmas.
We won all our games in May. He's done well. That was the judgment that they want, not for the whole season. It's absolute madness. They're picking some random date around Christmas, saying,
Yes.
"Oh, we're second or third."
Third, behind United and City, yeah.
Since Christmas. This reminds me of the 22-game unbeaten run of Emery.
Exactly.
It was an illusion. It was a mirage. It fell out. We said it wouldn't fucking continue. It couldn't continue. The underlying stats said it couldn't continue. And I'll tell you this is similar. There's no way in the world can you look at us playing football, look at the chances we create, look at the chances that get created against us, and tell me that we're the second or third best team in the league. It's a fucking illusion. We're not. We're nowhere near the second or third best team in the league.
Exactly,
I
George.
can name fucking 7 or 8 off the top of my head. And that's not counting ones that play better than us, that don't get as good results. I'm leaving them out.
Right. I mean, they're saying that we are better than Liverpool. Did they see how Liverpool finished this season? You know, I mean, how strong they were, how unbeatable they were. Yeah, are you out of your mind?
People just talk shit, and they double down. You see it time and time again, doubling down on stupid opinions. You know, they still won't accept that we fucked up letting Arsene Wenger go. They won't accept that we fucked up employing Mikel Arteta. They won't accept that Xhaka is one of our, if not our most important player. They won't accept that Arteta has brought in a load of rubbish and made almost every player in the squad worse. They double down on every opinion that they have. Once they've said something, they're so reluctant to look at the facts and reassess the position, like I did with Arteta. I had to reassess my position because I stupidly thought he was the man for the job. But normally, the Arsenal fan base would double down on that opinion because they'd said it. They'll continue to say it. And they'll look for anything. I mean, this is absolute nonsense that we're the second or third best team in the league. I mean, people should... The journalists, when they say things like that, they should just burst out laughing and start lifting the phone up and taking pictures of him because it's like a fucking comedy show. It should be on the fucking internet. It should be on Netflix as a comedy. His fucking...
George, the problem... George, I have repeatedly said, the problem is the mainstream media keeps repeating and giving credence to this nonsense. Adrian Durham on Talk, what do you call it, Talk Sports? What's your...
Yeah.
And 5 Live. I used to listen to those programs. And the rubbish that I heard. And of course, you had fans from other clubs who were inciting the rubbish, especially Spurs fans. And we refuse. Let me tell you what gets me, which is what in fact drives some of the nonsense amongst Arsenal fans. The idea that Arsene Wenger underachieved. Oh, I support Arsene Wenger, but you have to admit that he underachieved in his last 2 years. Are you out of your mind? Wenger had the seventh highest in spending. We were third or fourth in wages to keep the players we had. But are you telling me that a team with Giroud, Sonogo, give me some of all those players, George, Silvestre, these are the guys who we qualified for Europe. What was important was the management of the team, not the spending. But Arteta spends time telling you he is going to spend a lot of money this summer, which was the trend of thought I forgot when you spoke about us having to trim the squad. Where is this illusion coming from that we're going to spend heavily when we're out of Europe? But to go back to my original point, this idea, Wenger, in his last year, our team, and with all that was going on, with all the undermining, with the players knowing he was going, the team scored 74 goals compared to 55 goals under this bright, new, young manager. We had 63 points. This bright, new, young manager only has 61 points.